Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to show and tell number 248. So, it's been, as status quo is, and on this channel may always probably will be, life be a lifin', double scoops of life. We've got 99.9% certainty long-term company coming to stay with us, so I had to move like everything from the guest room and the frog into here that was like breakable, damageable, Christmas gifts, things like that. So my craft room is a disaster zone. We will have like a clip at some point of me trying something on to show you guys where I am on a project, but I'm not sure where I'm going to film that at, or if I'm just going to film it in here with these stacks of stuff on that side of the room. It is what it is. Life should be lifing. So that's kind of taken up a lot of my time this week, but I have had some time for crafting. I'm hoping to film 6 videos today. So I'm going to try to use my words wisely and share what's in my basket. Oh goodness. So we'll work our way down the basket because there's stacks of stuff in here and it's quite a bit. So we have squares, still making squares. I think I have all of the other squares for my black sweater. I'm not completely sure. I'll probably find out by the end of tomorrow, but we have the ones I set aside specifically to be in the brown and tan sweater and my starts to some of the brown and tan squares. My organization for this project has totally just gone poof because of company. So I'm hoping it works out. I'm hoping. I last week got a couple of rows into my corner to corner scrap blanket. So this is using the leftovers from making the shawls and hats and things, using the double strand mandalas and cupcakes. Right now we're working with centaur and robin's egg. So I've got this far along on it. I'm using a size J 6mm hook, and I need the blanket to be, I think, 60 inches. It's going to be 60 by 75, I think is what it's supposed to be. I need to double check my chart, but I do love the way the colors are working up in this. I started with, I think the last of my peas and carrots cakes. And then I had a blue, I'm pretty sure it was like a baby Pound of Love from Lion Brand or Pound of Love Baby or whatever. I started off with some of that and the peas and carrots, and now I'm into the centaur and robin's egg, but I love the no rhyme or reason to these. The color changes don't match up, so they just kind of blend together, but that will be a donation item. I am on like granny squares and corner to corner squares to make scrap gans. I think I have enough to do 2 of each right now, but those will get put together next year. I have a bin that's by like 18 by 8 maybe of the skeins, since I had to retire the Halloween bin for the year. So that's where my skeins for those are. And then I've got a 30-gallon tote that's like a quarter full of some other large partials or just the worsted weight acrylics that I'm trying to use up. So we'll have a lot more like just granny and corner to corner squares as well. I pulled some yarn together to do a shawl holding 2 sport weights together again. So hopefully I'll get that started soon too. Next thing here is going to be a little fidgety to pull out. So I am using Lion Brand's Vanna Choice in black to join my black granny square sweater. So last week I had the first row at the back. So the first thing I've got here in my basket, I'm changing the black yarn. I've used 2 full skeins of the Vanna's Choice to join so far, but this is the start to the first sleeve. I've not quite decided. I need to block this next part and kind of see how much more length I'm going to need. And that's going to dictate how I do the taper to the sleeve, because the top of my arm is nowhere near the same size as the bottom of my arm, even though I do have very large full arms. They are not quite nearly as large as my upper arm is. And I don't want to have that much room on my forearm because I will pull it up. But these are the remaining squares that are done. They are all ends woven in except for this one tail, which I'm weaving into the joining row. I am using a join method similar to the Hooked by Robin granny square join. So I will leave a link for Hooked by Robin in the description box down below, so you can go check out that join. It's fantastic. But I've got most of a sweater now. So I have, it's going to be bigger than I wanted, to be honest. But if I did 5 rows, it was going to be too tight to wear over things. So I thought it was better to go with the wider option. But we have a granny sweater. Is it a little tacky? Of course. Am I in love with it? Most definitely. This is the first time, by the way, I have ever made a garment. That's right, I said. Out of granny squares. I've made bags, I've made pillows, I've made blankets, I've made amigurumi. But this is definitely the first time I have ever made a garment out of granny squares. So I'm trying to get a good disbursement of color here. I'm not trying to be overly, I'm not like pre-planning this more than like a row. I do have like the next row of the sleeve is laid out on the table downstairs, but I don't have like the sweater planned out for the order of these because it really is truly a scrappy sweater. So if you are new to the channel, I did a 30-day challenge where I used as much yarn as I could and basically ended up just knitting a whole bunch of hats and scarves to donate after it. I was already doing it, trying to do my goal of 50 this year, but I just continued doing it for the entirety of the 30-day challenge because of the hurricane and flooding devastation in Western North Carolina. So I am donating 50 hats here, or donated 50 hats here in my local area. I sent 20 hat and scarf sets to Asheville, as well as another 10 hats. But in doing that, the way I do my cast on and my cast off, because I don't know how I'm going to want to finish items as I pull them off the machine, I have huge tails left over. So I decided to make one round grannies out of them. And because of the nature of the scraps of just years of doing this, I've been crocheting now for 36 years. So, you just tend to build up some scraps. So I used scrap black to do the first round, then some other scraps that I had to do the second round. And these are just worsted weight acrylic. So I am going to have to steam this and everything else to make it a nice garment to wear. But I am doing the outer row, which is the join here, all in the Vanna's Choice. So that way the final rows will match across the entire sweater. But everything else in this sweater is scrap with the exception of that joining yarn. And what I'm thinking right now is I might want to add about 4 to 5 inches on the bottom of it, because right now unblocked we're hitting above my tuchus. Blocked will hit like mid tuchus. I'd kind of like the sweater to be under my tuchus. So depending on what how much after I block this piece and see how long it's going to fit, I may decide to add, I was thinking like some rows of black granny stitch then some random color stitches or maybe alternating color black, color black, color black on the bottom, and then finishing it in maybe like a scallop or something like that. Or just reverse seed stitch, which is one of my favorite go-tos. And I will be, I think, doing a shawl collar on this, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to need it to be. So when I decide that and decide how I'm going to finish the bottom, I will decide how to decrease the sleeve. Because if I'm going to have, you know, this much of extra on the bottom of the sweater, I can kind of do like a mini duplicate on the sleeve and use that to taper. Because right now, if I do 3 rows of granny squares for the sleeves, that ends right here. And if I end my sweater right here, that's almost perfect for me because I can push it up off my wrist. But unless we're doing something that completely covers my hand, I don't like things over my hand. And because I want to make sure this lasts a couple of seasons, I don't want to stretch it out or deform the cuff that much. So it'd be better to end it up here more at bracelet length. But right now the sleeve is going to end at 3/4 lengths. But I could do a mini set of stitches to kind of pull in and taper. As you can see, I have a very large taper to my arm there. So I could taper the sleeve to get a more fitted shape. Or I can do an offset granny for the last row and take it down to 3 granny squares. I just hate having such a huge chop, especially that low on the arm, because we're going to be looking at like right here to right here is going to be a different width, and there's going to be like a tucky pucker right there. And I'm not sure I'm super keen on that look. I'll test it out before I like weave in ends and stuff, but this is kind of a process of winging it. I know what I want, kind of, but I'm not following a pattern. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. So that's what's going on with that. Then the last 2 things in my bin, we have another scrappy granny square and one more, or regular granny square and a scrappy corner to corner square. So this is a 10-row granny using a size I 5.5 millimeter hook. This is a 10-row corner to corner using a size I 5.5 millimeter hook. And these are just leftovers or skeins I'm not going to use for other projects, worsted weight acrylic. These will be donated to one of the shelters here in town. So once all these get turned into blankets next year, it'll be like 2023 when we were moving, and I just took the squares down here with me when we were staying at the apartment, and every week there was a new blanket or 2 that I'd put together. We'll have something very similar. I do use as the same join as you go method for the granny square, as I mentioned earlier, the Hook by Robin tutorial. For the corner to corner squares, I do have a tutorial at how I do it's not a continuous join as you go, it's just a join as you go with the corner to corner squares. But I do have a tutorial for that. I will leave that in the iCard as well as in the description box down below. But that will be next year's problem for me putting these together. It is making its progress here. We're doing things. We're getting things done. It's just, life be lifing. I mean, it's a good problem to have. Life be lifing. But it does lead to a slightly discombobulated lifestyle. So as far as like entertainment and stuff, we really haven't been watching anything that interesting. I've been sharing with you the channels we have been watching. I watched another episode of Hysteria on Paramount Plus. So far, I don't have anything to report. I like the way it's going. I have some suspicions about some characters. And once again, Bruce Campbell's just so adorable. He's a cutie pie. And there are a lot of times where I think people need to listen to Bruce Campbell's characters just a little bit more. But yeah, no, it's cute. So far, it's funny. I'm not, I think I'm like 2.5 episodes, almost 3 episodes in. So it's not like I have a whole like picture of the show yet. Other than that, I don't think we've really watched any TV type programming. You know, occasionally we pick up like a episode of The Tudors that we've watched 900 times. If there's nothing on live TV, we watch the Carolina football game. So we somehow pulled out a win. I finally, the last 2 minutes of the game, I had to stop watching because for whatever reason this season, every time I sit down and continue to watch, we're not doing so good. And we were 2 minutes from the end of the game, and we were behind, and I didn't see the final touchdown. So I had to watch a replay Sunday morning. But we watched that. I think Troy watched, we had family over for dinner on Sunday night, so we didn't watch anything. But before that, Troy was watching the women's basketball game, and really it's kind of been it. We've had a lot of like late evenings, so we've got like, 30 minutes to eat, and then it's time to start like feeding cats and clean the kitchen and all that normal boring kind of stuff. So we really haven't had time to like chill out and watch TV. Like normally we'll at least watch like 4 hours of TV a week. So other than, we watched the new episode of The In-Between, which loved it. We watched, I listened to one of the new Peter Laws videos, and Troy's been into watching this guy who's rebuilding a chateau. So I think we watched a lot of that. There's a girl that's, she got a $1 house in South Dakota, and she's been refinishing that and trying to get it ready to live in this winter. So we've been kind of like keeping an eye on that. But once again, like that's 30 minutes of television. So hasn't been too much time recently. So anywho, I am going to jet off and get on to filming the next few videos. I am filming this on Tuesday. I have a feeling I am going to need some bulk videos to get through the next couple weeks. So we'll see how this goes. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you real soon. Wow, words. Worms, Roxanne, worms. So yeah, I love you guys. I will see you real soon. I hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic day. Bye, you guys. Okay, you guys, like I said, forgive the 2 rooms worth of storage I've got going on back here, but this is where the granny square cardigan is. I think now let's set the sleeve piece down for a minute here. Get the 2 corners together. Yeah, so we're situated about even. So we will have a collar that comes in and brings all this towards the front just a little bit. So it's not going to be quite so open in the center. Although right now we are looking like a kind of cute vest here. So bear in mind, once I steam this and block this, we'll actually have drape to this. It won't stand out away from the body. It will actually come in significantly. And kind of follow more of the lines of my body instead of making me look like a gargantuan brick. But this is where the sleeve is going to, how that sleeve is going to start looking. So we're really not that far. I want to pull, when I block it, I want to pull more top to bottom, less side to side. So we shouldn't gain too much more length from where we're estimating right here. So I might actually stop here on the sleeve for now. Block this, because from here, I could just finish off the sleeve either in the black or doing like a black with a, because if I bring this down, it'll be here for the border. So I'm only got to go about 2 more inches, maybe. The advantage of being a short girl. I might have to go around my girth, but I don't have to go that long. All right, well, voila.